Here we are core drilling at the Santo Tomas property. We're drilling with core. The core rig is currently drilling, and it has a bit on the bottom of the metal tube that has diamonds impregnated into it, and it drills a hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And then once it gets to a particular depth, there's a device that holds the core in place at the bottom of the hole called a core barrel. And then that core barrel is in the drill rod at the bottom of the hole. When it's full of core, they send down a device that extracts the core barrel out so that they can then recover the core that has been produced from the drilling for intervals of typically 10 feet intervals at a time. Then once the core comes to the surface, it's laid out on the racks over here where they can orient it. This is large diameter core, so we're not orienting this. But the smaller diameter core we orient so that we know which way, when we hit fractures, which way is magnetic north and magnetic south, so we can get true attitudes on information. And then once the core has been marked with that red line that indicates that orientation, they push it out of the core barrel with a water pressure tube, and that lays it out on these long racks that you see, and then the core is placed into the core boxes, and then once the core boxes are full, we pick them up every day and ship them back to the core processing facility in Choice. Here we're also using water. One of the things that we do to lubricate and to stabilize the hole as we're drilling is we're circulating water, and sometimes we put additives to that which helps stabilize the interior of the hole, because sometimes you can get caving occurring on the interior of the hole. They add special kinds of clays and muds and polymers which help stabilize the core, and so the water is basically to clean out the debris when you're drilling, because as you're drilling down with a diamond bit, you're generating very finely ground rock, and that rock, it has to circulate and come out of the hole, otherwise it just clogs up the process in the bottom of the hole. So the mud is for lubrication and removing the debris from the drilling that occurs as you're drilling the hole deeper and deeper. Here we're going to be retrieving the core from the hole, and so we're going to be elevating the hole from the drill string from the bottom of the hole a little bit, which is what's going on now. And then we're going to put a device on the end of a long metal wire that will be sent down the hole to grab.
You want to stand next to it more?
Yeah. So we're going to have retrieve the core barrel now. So we're going to break the drill rods right here, which is earlier than we usually do it. And then when they get the drill rods unscrewed, they've got the bottom rod that's clamped in place. So you can see they're unscrewing the upper drill rod right now. So they're going to take that drill rod all the way off. There, it just broke. So they're going to pull that rod out and set it to the side. That's the drilling fluid that they use. You can see it's not just straight water. It's got additives to it to make it slimier and to hold the hole open and to lubricate things better.
Where is the core?
The core is in that tube you see going into the ground down at the bottom of the hole. And so now they're just doing the arrangements to be able to retrieve that core barrel out. So they're setting aside the hydraulic motor, which is what turns the drill rod. And now they're putting a tool down the hole, which is going to go down the hole and capture an inner tube, a metal tube that's inside the big drill string tube, and they're going to pull the core barrel out, which is what the core.
This thing going down?
We're at going down about 70 meters deep to get the core. So they're running down with that wire line. This is also called wire line drilling. So they're running that wire line down the hole with a catcher that's going to latch onto the core barrel, which they're going to haul up the hole so they can get it to the surface. And then the core that's in the core barrel will be laid out into a tray to hold it. So they're running the catcher down to the core barrel to pull that out of the bottom of the drill hole. You can see the wire line is moving deeper and deeper and deeper. and pretty soon it'll hit a stop, and when it hits that stop, that's where it's grabbing onto the core barrel to bring up the hole in order to get the core to the surface. So it'll wait for a minute for it to get all the way down. They're still lowering the catcher device. Okay, right there you can see it stop. That means they grabbed the core barrel and now they're pulling it up the drill string. So in a minute or two it'll be at the top of the drill pipe and we'll be able to see the core when they pull it out of the drill string, so you can see that now we have a core sample of the rock from depth. This is large diameter core we're drilling right now, called PQ, and we're drilling that for about the first 100 meters in the holes in the Santo Tomas area now, because we've had issues and costs added with the rock being so broken that we don't get a return of the water coming out of the hole that cleans out the bottom of the hole. And so we're drilling with a larger diameter core right now through the really broken rock that's close to surface till we get into more solid rock, so we can manage the return of the water out of the hole better and reduce downtime waiting for water, because we've had losses of water in the drilling in the last period of time. You can see here the core barrel is close to coming out the top of the hole. It's pushing water up out of the hole. There's the catcher for the core barrel. And at the bottom of that, there we have the core barrel coming out the hole. So the core is in that. You can see in the bottom of that tube, that's rock sticking out. That's the rock that has now been cored with the drill rig. So now it's set over here onto a rack. And if you come around and look over here, you can see the rock that was at the very bottom of the hole. So that came right from the complete terminus of the hole at depth. And now what they're doing, if we turn back to the rig, they're putting another core barrel back in. They'll run it down the hole to the drill bit, and then they'll start drilling again normally.
So they're not taking it down to take more core out?
Yeah, so they're taking it down to continue drilling to retrieve more core, making the hole deeper.
Yeah. And what are they going to do with this now?
This core that's in the I'm sorry. This core that's in the barrel right now, it's going to be extracted with a hydraulic pump that fits on one end, and it gets laid out in the trays we see over there. And then once it's in the trays, they transfer it to the core boxes right down here. The core boxes, when they're all accumulated for any particular drill hole, they get shipped off to the core processing facility that we have in Choice that we looked at yesterday.
So are they going to do it now?
Yes, what they're going to do next is they're going to extract the core out of the core barrel. So we'll see that in a minute when the drillers get done with their job of getting back busy drilling. So now they're rocking the hydraulic drill motor back into place. They've locked it in place. Now they're running the hydraulic motor up the hole, and they're going to put the drill rod back in that they took out a little bit ago.
They're going to add a second one to go deeper, right?
Yes, yeah, so now they're just going to continue drilling. So they'll go ahead and go back in the hole. The core barrel has been inserted. Now they've added the drill rod back. They're going to run it down to the bottom of the hole where the drill bit is, which is a diamond impregnated drill bit, and then they'll continue drilling. So in a moment, what he's doing now is he's trying to get water back down to the bottom of the hole to make sure that we've got good circulation.
Talk about this.
Over here, we're breaking off the core barrel from the device that's used, the apparatus to grab the core barrel. So we're just removing that right now. It just unscrews. And you can see the drill fluid coming out from the core barrel. Now they're just bringing the core barrel up to the core box. In some cases they have to use a pump to pump the core out of the core barrel, but in this case it looks like it'll just slip out. There's the core that we just drilled in the last half hour coming out of the hole. There's a fairly continuous interval. He's trying to keep it all neat and organized so the fragments are in order so we can collect data appropriately. There, now he's got the core back to its orientation. There's another piece I'll put back into the sequence. And so that's the cored rock that we drilled in the last half hour. So that's the process then from the drilling all the way down as we get deeper and deeper, and then how we extract the cores that have been drilled out from at the bottom of the drill hole. So we do this for up to way over over 500 meters for individual holes, and this core is much larger than is usually drilled. This is PQ. We'll go to smaller NQ and BQ drilling as we get deeper. So he's still organizing the core to make sure everything is in its real geological order, if you will. Now he brings the last plate piece. And there's a bit more core coming out. And it just fit in the box. That's the process.
Santo Tomas was originally drilled in the 1970s. It was drilled further in the 1980s and 1990s. And then, as you all know, from the mid-1990s to 2001, copper prices declined to historic lows. By 2001, copper was at in real dollar terms, a 100-year low. As copper prices started to climb, projects like Santo Tomas started to get drilled and developed and bought and sold, but Santo Tomas was, again, as you all know, caught up in a legal battle. We got involved towards 2009 to help repatriate ownership of Santo Tomas to Ruben Rodriguez, the rightful owner. What was planned as an effort, a land assembly and legal battle for legal effort for a few years, turned out to be over a decade. And Santo Tomas, therefore, was not drilled from the mid-1990s until drilling started in July of last year. So we're now seeing core coming out of the ground for the first time in over 20 years, over 25 years. We're confirming the historical data, and more importantly, or just as importantly, we're starting to see new areas of mineralization. And the team here, as Mariusz and I have been shown in the last 24 hours, are starting to understand just how big, how robustly mineralized, how large Santo Tomas is compared to the effort up to 1994, which really just scratched the surface. So it's been a real treat in the last day to start to see where drilling is taking place. Obviously, seeing drilling in the field here is exciting, and we now understand that this is an effort that's going to continue throughout this year into next year. Fully define Santo Tomas, and then hopefully hand off ownership of this to a major mining company who has infrastructure in place, who has one of the largest undeveloped copper deposits to take forward. And this trip marks, I think, a milestone for Mariusz and I, where we've seen it prior to this, where there wasn't drilling, there wasn't exploration going on, and now we see a robust exploration effort with permanent infrastructure in place. Jeff is here with me at the site of this drill. Jeff's been a long-time supporter. A lot of you know him as Caliche on Twitter and other social media places. Jeff's a geologist by training, who also has a career of many decades in the financial side of investing in junior mining companies. So you started to understand Santo Tomas based on some old photocopies of old reports. You saw the potential here. You
Absolutely.
recognized what it
As
is.
soon as I saw the first maps, I was sold. This is a very large project. To see it starting to get drilled now and seeing what's coming out, that's the newest core coming out from the whole project right now. It's the only drill turning. Really exciting stuff. We're just getting into what we're looking for in this hole. So everything is going very well. I'm very excited. As a shareholder, I'm very happy to be part of this project.
So you spent some time yesterday in the core shack with the team, with the logging team, the geological logging team, the geotechnical logging team.
Yep.
And I noticed that you were really particularly focused on the geological logging, the discussion with Miguel.
Yep.
Can you just give a summary of what Miguel was saying to you?
First of all, these guys they got working for them are top-notch guys. They are figuring this thing out every day. It's getting clearer. What I was looking at was a sort of standard section that they've created, showing where Santo Tomas and Basiles fit into this section. So very interesting to see all the different types of rocks. I did tweet that last night, so take a look at that. They're figuring this out, and it looks like some parts of it are textbook porphyry, some parts are not, but it's all good.
So one of the fellows that we both met on this trip is Mike Smith, former head of exploration for Latin America for Barrick. He's here advising the team, consulting to Oroco, streamlining systems. I was particularly heartened to hear him introduce himself yesterday in the core shack and describe Santo Tomas as one of the best projects that he's ever worked on. Mike had said that projects to succeed need three things. They need the asset, they need the geology, they need people, and they need money. I think with the financing that's just closed, we've demonstrated that Oroco is capable of financing the project to whatever it needs. We're starting to get an explanation of the geology, but the people. What's your sense? Because that's what's different.
Amazing people. There's older generation geologists, and there's a lot of younger people. And the younger guys are figuring this thing out. They don't have preconceived notions of what it is or what it isn't. They're looking at the data, looking at the drills, looking at the core, and I think they're getting it right.
I really sense that there's some uniquely talented people here. Mike's experience, Miguel, for instance, a porphyry genius from Peru.
He's great. Yeah, he's awesome. He's got this thing.
Yeah, and he loves it. There was some joking around the dinner table last night that Miguel is ready to marry Santo Tomas. He loves it that much. I think Fidel was doing some of that joking. Fidel on the structural side has been described as brilliant in his own right. So that's
structure wasn't ever my thing, but he's got it nailed.
He's got it nailed. Yeah. So what we're seeing from some of the senior geologists, like Mike, like Carlos, is a description of the guys, the junior guys, doing the work as being particularly talented, even brilliant in their field.
Yeah, so, I would agree. Very impressive bunch. And they're all super happy to be here, and I can tell, I can see it. They are always thinking about it just like I am. They're always figuring it out, and impressed, very impressed.